Welcome to the Conscious Mindset Fireside Chat. I am Aletha Williams, your host. I am so happy to be here. I strive to bring topics that stimulate focus to help guide you so that you may feel confident and comfortable changing your wellness towards creating the best version of yourself. On this episode, I interviewed Dr. Brenda Bradley. She is an engaging and compassionate certified health coach. Through her work and passion for healthy eating and living, she decided to answer the call to become a certified health coach. Determined to break free from the standard American diet, which is known to be more harm than good, she set out on her journey to research food, diseases, and fitness. Her drive and determination led her to become more involved in health and fitness. After struggling on her own health goals and learning about the body and what it needs to perform optimally, she made the switch to plant-based diet. This diet she credits for helping her not only to lose weight, but has improved her overall quality of life. Last year, she developed a new program called the 21-Day Vegan Challenge, and has recommended that clients and those struggling with weight or health issues give it a try. The 21-Day Challenge is a vegan-only food challenge that stresses the healing power of food and how its proper use can restore the body to a natural, healthy state. In this interview, you will notice we mention a few times about spirit and how spirit lives all around us. If it does not resonate, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But throughout the interview, we will be talking about how health is wealth and our definition of what wealth is. We will be talking about that mind, body, spirit connection that makes you able to make decision, life-changing decision with utter confidence and attacks it knowing that it is the right way, even though you don't know what's on the other side of change. We will be talking about her books and what's to come of her new book that she is doing a beta testing about, and how her message to the world is to continue to heal and to do it by doing the inner work. So unless you have any questions right now, stay tuned for this wonderful and phenomenal interview as I step into the room with yet another agent of change, Dr. Dr. Brenda Bradley.
But again, it is always my honor, and it is such an honor to be here with you and to share on your platform things that I truly believe really matters in this day and age. With all that we are currently dealing with, is very important that we discuss some things that a lot of people, because of the industry, do not realize that could help them with whatever it is that they're dealing with. So again, thank you so much. It is my honor to be here with you to discuss what we're going to discuss during this podcast.
At Saybrook University, which is where I'm getting my doctorate, they say this: it is an honor to be in the room with like-minded people. And so when I bring on guests onto this Conscious Mindset podcast, it is just an honor to be in the room with greatness. And because we have decided to be servants to our community, to the whole, and to be guardians and lights, like angels and ambassadors, to bring forth the best knowledge, the best methods to help everyone bring forth their light inside of themselves. So welcome. And without further,
I come from a family of 7. My mother and father was in the home, and I had 4 siblings, one sister, and 3 brothers. And one of the things that connected us growing up was food, because food, if you think about it, whenever there's anything happening, whether it's a wedding, a birth of a child, a birthday, or whatever, what do? We serve food. So growing up, it was so meaningful to sit at the table with my mother and my dad, and we're having our family dinner. That was just so enjoyable, and the food was so good. Fast forward, I graduated high school. I'm like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Because I knew I was still growing, right?
Mm.
I joined the Air Force, and it took me all across the world. I ended up in Europe, in England, as a matter of fact. And I recall one day I went to the commissary. In the military, we call it a commissary. You might call it a grocery store. Some people might call it the market. I went and I purchased some food. And I remember when I went back and I lived in the dorms, because we had dormitories while I was when I first made it to England. And I remember eating a tomato. And that tomato, I was known to eat vegetables, but the tomato, I would eat tomatoes like they were apples. I would just eat them like that. And I remember biting into the tomato, and I was like, oh my goodness, this doesn't taste like home. I was used to, so I called my mother and I said, Mom, something is wrong with the food over here. And she said, what are you talking about, Brenda? And I said, I had tomato, but it doesn't taste the same. And my mother words were, you know what? Where did you get it from? Did you get it from the farmers or did you go in the store? I said, I went in the store. I don't know any farmers. So I sat that up and whatever out of their gardens. We shared our food. It was nothing for me to come home, open the front door from school, and I see a bushel of peas and beans. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to shell this. But my mother was like, take this over to that person's house or the neighbor's house and all of that, right? So we took care of one another. So now I'm going to fast forward again. So after I left the military, I landed a position in corporate America. And I was so gung ho because I had the skills, and my background was a supply chain management.
Mm.
And when I went into this huge organization that employed over 93,000 employees, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a piece of this pie. I'm gonna chase that corporate ladder. Well, lo and behold, eventually became sick. And when I realized what was happening, I felt like it was almost too late. So what I mean by that is, imagine uh, excelling or trying to do your best to get a certain position in life. And when we do that, I lost focus on who I was. I lost focus on what I was taught. I was trying to climb this particular ladder, right? One day while in the 6 pounds, which is you're obese, but now you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, pre-diabetic, she just kept talking, and I just could not believe it. And so after that, life for me was not good, and I will say it over and over again. It was not good. I did not know how to handle that. I did not know what to do. So depression set in. I stayed away from people. I was trying to figure it out.
Let's pause for a second. Somehow the Wi-Fi just completely shut you off in that last sentence. And for our audience, I'm so glad that this is happening. And when I say I'm glad that the interruption of the internet is happening, it's not the internet that's the problem. I just checked my Wi-Fi and everything is completely all full bars. But what is happening, and I was explaining to Dr. Bradley, is there is a spirit that there's an energy that wants to be heard, and in
Yes.
between the two of us. And so I welcome the spirit, and I welcome it to just give us a chance for us to talk and for us to connect to it, so that we can transmute what the message is that it's trying to say. Because when I say conscious mindset, when we connect to the source of who we are, we literally are delivering the message that our divine connection is trying to have us transmute. And so what you're seeing in the interruption is the fact that it's trying to speak because we're not holding space for it. And so I want to let it know that we're holding space, but we need to he needs to calm down. So, without further ado, Doctor, can you go back and say that last sentence? I don't even know if you remember what you were talking about because I just distracted you with the spiritual interruption. But the spirit is here, and I welcome it, and I look forward to hearing what it is that it wants to speak through us to say to our audience.
Well, I want to say this. I totally understand what you mean about the spirit. And I will get into that as we further discuss, because there are entities, and for you to be able to recognize it, that speak volumes, because I speak and see it every day. It's been with me all throughout the day. I've been talking to it, and I was like, it's okay, it's okay. So there is a message. Um, and this has to happen. It has to happen. So I want to say thank you for, and let it know that, okay, what you're not going to do is keep on trying to interrupt us. We already know that you're here. We're going to pull you right on in here. When we pull you in, you best to speak. I love it. I love it.
Yes, yes, yes.
So calm down. So what I was saying is that when I became sick, I was really sick. And sometimes when we're all on this journey, right? And sometimes we might feel like, oh, why is this happening to me? But listen, there are lessons in anything that is happening in our lives. There are lessons. And so there were lessons for me. I just didn't know what those lessons were. There I was chasing this corporate ladder, not realizing that is what happened. So it's almost like spirit said, you know what, take her down. We got to regroup. She doesn't even know who she is. And if she did, she wouldn't be doing that. So let's find another avenue. And I really, truly believe that that was the avenue for me to gain that weight, for me to experience and know what of my friends or anyone what I was going through. On this particular day, this lady, I saw her, I broke down. I started crying, and she called me Brenda Brand. And I had knew her before. I've seen her because she had a business, and I would go in to see her. And so when on this particular day, I went in to see her, and she said, Brenda Brand. I told her that I was miserable, that I thought about committing suicide. I didn't want to be in this time space reality anymore because it wasn't good. And she said, oh my goodness, you're going to be okay. Spirit told me to tell you, because you turned your back on God, that you're going to be okay. You went through that. Everything that you went through, you went through for a reason. And she told me about a book that I needed to read. I read this book, and that's what started my journey on veganism.
Oh.
And I haven't looked back since. And so for when I adopted the vegan lifestyle, and let me share this with your audience. The term vegan, if you were to look it up, it's a corn phrase. So basically, I became vegan for my health at the time. I did not become vegan to save an animal. If anything, I was the animal that I was trying to save. But if you were to look up that, vegan stands for people that are out there, trying to free the whale, trying to do something for, the king lion and things like that. But when I use the term vegan, I'm talking about just for my health. I want to just make that very clear, because they'll come after you. They'll say, Dr. Aletha, is that leather in your car? I thought you were a vegan. So I want to make that clear.
So true.
Don't y'all come after her. Don't y'all come after me.
That's so true.
Don't do that. And that's why people change the term all the time. Plant-based, vegan, pescatarian, you name it, whole food, plant-based, we're constantly changing. But at the end of the day, those of us that do that, we're doing a majority of people do it for their health. So here's the thing. When I fully committed to it overnight, cold turkey, I gave up everything that belonged to the animal, that came from the animal, eggs, meat, cheese, dairy, anything that came, gave it up. And I did it during Lent, and that's when you make a sacrificial offering. And I had that conversation and said, if I will do this, talking to the universe, I'm talking to my source, I'm talking, some people say God, whatever that source is, I was talking to that source. And I made it through those 40 days without touching anything of the animal. And I was 236 pounds. I had lost 33 pounds. You couldn't tell me nothing. I knew I had arrived. I knew that life was going to be good. My spirits, you know, it was amazing what happened. After 90 days, my doctor took me off of nothing. And so that's what happened with me.
Wow, that's a wonderful story, and thank you so much for sharing it with us. You hit on a really good point. Sometimes the path of our life that we're taking is really not what our soul wants us to be on. And because of that, something else comes in, spirits, angels that are walking the earth, and we don't see them, but we're not present because we're not present with ourselves. How much more present can we be with them? So they intervene by coming into the material, i.e., the angel that spoke to you and stopped you from going the path that you were going in. And so with food, though, food is also a healing source that we people are not looking at it as a healing source. Everything vibrates. These hands that we're seeing may look like matter, but it is a vibrational source of cells. Every single cell is vibrating at a certain frequency. So when we eat stuff, if we eat stuff that is dead, how do you think our minds, body, and soul is going to feel? So can you pontificate a little bit better on what I'm trying to talk about, the vibration of the food that we're eating?
When we eat it, we're downloading that DNA that comes from that food. Yeah. Okay. We don't really even understand it. We just know that we need it to survive, right? And we need to eat it because Big Mama ate it, Grandma ate it, Mom and Dad ate it. You know, everybody is eating it, but we don't really think about it. But I want to share something with you that through my research, food is powerful. Food is powerful. Food, if you want to call it food, is either for your body or it is against your body. So think about it like this. So the food that I was eating when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you know, gaining a lot of weight, that food was totally against me. That food was not for me, because if it had been for me, I would have been able to download what was needed for my mind, body, and soul. So food is very important. It is very important that we understand how powerful food is, and it is not to be overlooked. What has happened, Dr. Aletha, is that we have become so conditioned. We're so conditioned, and that we don't know. We really can't see the forest for the trees because we have clouded our minds, and we're not using our brain in its full capacity. But I am here to tell you that when you eat the foods that are designed for your body, when you eat those foods, you're going to enter into a state of awareness. That consciousness is amazing. And you will begin to see and feel. You will be able to see with your ears and hear with your eyes. I know some people are like, she's crazy. If you want to call it that, okay, I'll take it, because I'm in such a state of well-being that I truly understand that we are all truly connected. Yes. The animals, nature, we just got away from it. Yeah. So that's what, when it comes to food is that there's a reason why it was designed to help us as we travel on through this time-space reality, what some people call life or even this dimension. Yeah. So I am glad that I was even chosen so that I could try to educate and help as many people as I possibly can to understand, because the masses are not going to get it. But those that truly want to really understand it and they're able to practice, then they will see just how powerful. And I'm here to say it will change your trajectory. As I mentioned, I was on a total different path. I'm all like, oh, I want to be the first African American vice president in this all white company. Once my eyes became open and I was really able to see me and get to know me for who I really am, I walked away from all of that, no matter how much money that was. Health is wealth. I know. So what? I was making six figures, but guess what? I was dying every day. I wasn't going to be able to enjoy that.
Yeah.
So now I am in a state where I am as rich as I ever was. I am so wealthy.
Yeah.
And it all starts with the body, mind, and the soul, that connection. I have awakened. I am no longer asleep. There are so many people. I see them on a daily basis. They look good now. They do. I said, "Ooh, they look good." But you know what? They are walking dead because they have not realized that the power that they truly, truly have. I had to say goodbye. And I didn't know what else existed. Again, that conditioning of the mind. I did not know. And so when I say that I died, I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom. And what rock bottom looked like to me was, here I am, 236 pounds. I'm wrapping up my body. What that means is I am putting on a bodysuit, put my clothes on. No one knew how big I really was. Come on, who does that, right? I'm mentally sick. I'm entering into mental depression, mental health. I'm having an issue here. I stayed away from family and friends. I even lied and said how busy I was. Oh, the job is keeping me so busy. I can't come over there to that party. I can People wanted to see me, but I was going through hell. I was in hell. And this is what I did. I became so disappointed in my heavenly Father. I gave God the hand. I said, "You know what, God? I'm a good person. And you condemned me to hell? I don't even know you anymore. So I'm gonna give you the hand because I'm down here in this valley. And how could you do this to me? How could you sentence me to a death like this?"
Yeah.
So guess what? Since you're not thinking about me, I'm not thinking about you. And that's where my mind was. But even though I stopped reading religious texts, I stopped doing all these things, God still never gave up on me.
Yeah.
And I did not see it. I didn't see it. So when you mention, Jonah being in the belly, I was in the belly. And I'm gonna tell you something. Being in the belly of a whale, good, and it doesn't feel good. And I was there and I know what it looked like. I know what it feels like. But when that angel showed up in my life and told me, God never gave up on you.
Yeah.
You stop listening, but here's the message. And from that day forward, yes, I repented. Yes, I apologized. Yes, I did whatever I had to do. And I said, God, you know what? I'm ready to move forward. Whatever this journey is about, I know who you are now. Because when I look in the mirror, I see you because you live inside of me. I did not know. So
And so when you bring that up in the fact that as you were trying to get out of that depression, you had to let go of the the archetype, the person who you wanted to be in the corporate world. And so that's what we wanted. I want to see if we can turn the table in the conversation on about at what point, what point do we say no? We're not going to just let our body tell us when to change, but when our minds and our soul is telling us, at what point should, how can we get that mind and body together to have that conscious conversation before the physical derails us?
That's a really, really good question. And to answer that question is to say that, again, we as human beings living in, and you hear me over and over again, I'll say time, space, reality, living in this world as we know it. We have become so conditioned. We do not know. We don't know. So it was it was meant for me because I wasn't getting it. I was so out of balance. And here's the thing, when I look back on it, and it's really sad that, and I am included when I say this at the time, a lot of us, we do not know who we are. If we did, we would never have been out of balance in the first place. Would have never gotten high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I did not know. I did not understand, but I am thankful. But here's the thing, because we talked about food, and I say this to a lot of people, you have got to understand the power of food. Food can actually put you back in balance. Amen. So let me give you one of the questions that individual asks me when they find out what I do. One of the questions that I'm asked is, Dr. Bradley, could you recommend a good detox? And one of my questions to them, or several of my questions, is, what are you detoxing? What are you wanted to use the detox for? And 10 times out of 10, they say, "Oh, I want to lose weight." And I said, "Oh, okay." So what I'm doing when I'm asking the question is I'm engaging them, and I want them to think. So when I say, "Oh, okay, you want to lose weight. Okay, are you trying to lose mental weight, emotional weight, physical weight?" Because I want to recommend something to you where you can lose all three. Because, and if you just want to lose physical weight, you're just looking for something that's temporary. And I really can't recommend that, because you're going to be disappointed, because you're going to lose that weight. And guess what? You're going to lose 5 pounds, and then 10 pounds, you're going to gain 10 pounds. And then you're going to come to me again and say, "Yo, that didn't work." So I'm looking at the body, mind, and soul. So dropping off. But then I started to notice, and I was like, what is happening? I started seeing true colors. I started seeing that flower on the side of the road that no one even paid attention to. It was beautiful. I started hearing the melody of the chirping of the birds in the wee hours of the morning. Oh, it's a beautiful sound. I could hear the crickets. And I was like, oh my goodness. And if you follow me on Facebook, you will see that I have a connection with the animals. They just show up in my backyard. I have foxes. I didn't even know they existed. I have foxes. I have groundhogs. I have a couple of snakes that come into the house. I have a pet snake that lives right outside my front door that knows not to come in. No. Let me tell you this. And I am terrified of snakes, but I understand it. That's that, it's like, oh, I have because that's that consciousness that lets me know you're not here by yourself. Quit being afraid of this. Quit doing all of that. So your question was, how long does it take? I truly cannot answer that, because all of us are different. We're truly different. If I was to put a time limit on it, I would say that it would take as long as it needs to be for you to realize who you are. and that consciousness. So I, and let me back up and let me say this. So one of the things I can say is when I adopted a plant-based lifestyle, it came quickly. It came in a matter of months, not even a year. And what I mean by that is in 3 months and 90 days, I was taking out all my medication. And within 10 months, I had lost over 70 pounds. And it just came off. And then I just started seeing things and started realizing that guess what? My trajectory, my life had changed. Did I expire? Did I shoot for that C-suite anymore? No. It was almost as though I wanted to get on bending knees and just cry and say, oh my goodness, who knew? And I got to help someone. I have to, because we are all looking for that silver lining, but it takes each one of us, it takes that support. And oftentimes there are people that I do know, they understand it and they're still in it for themselves, but it doesn't last that long. So you got to be in it and you got to understand it.
How did you even get to that what was it that you realized before you started asking that question? Who am I and how do you find yourself on a physical, spiritual,
Oh, wow.
emotional level?
Woo! It's getting hot in here.
It might be 20 minutes, y'all.
It's getting hot in here. Wow, that is it's almost an emotional question for me, but I will answer the best way that I possibly can because it did happen to me. I never knew who I was. Okay, let me just say that first and foremost. Dr. Aletha, if you told me, if me and you were close friends, best of friends, and you said to me, oh, Brenda, my favorite color is blue, I would say, oh, mine too. You know, I would immediately just, oh, mine too. Or your favorite food was an apple, mine too. You know, I just thought that that was the thing to say, right? You know, if that's our favorite color, it's got to be mine too, right? And that even followed me into relationships. So even in my relationships, as I had my boyfriend, and if my boyfriend said that his favorite color was purple, I'm telling you, violet was my color. And if he liked hot dogs, oh, I do too.
Right.
Oh, I like it too. Fast forward, one day I am at home alone. I have 2 children, adults now. But one day I said, you know what, this is my day. This is all mine. I'm going to take a shower, get dressed. I'm going to do some light shopping. I'm just going to do some self-care, right? So when I was going to take my shower, I had to pass by a mirror. And on this particular day, I passed by the mirror, I saw something. You know, you see something out of your peripheral vision, and it scared me. And so I'm like, please don't let anyone be in this house. I'm thinking that, oh my God, somebody's in here, they're going to burglarize me or they're going to rob me or whatever the case may be. So instead of turning around, walking back toward the mirror, I kind of walked backwards, real slow, and I turned real slow to the mirror. And when I looked into the mirror, I just was like a deer caught in a headlight. I became frozen, and I just stood there. And I'm totally in the nude, if I can say that, because I was going to take a shower.
Right.
And it's what I saw that startled me and brought me to tears. And when I looked, I saw someone that I'd never seen before. How did she even get in my house? Where did she come from? And I got closer to the mirror and I said, oh my God, she's me. How did I get here? And she was upset.
Yes.
When I looked into her eyes,
Mm.
she was looking at me like, how dare you do what you did to me?
Mm-hmm.
You left me. You put me over there to the side and you went and you helped everybody else.
Mm.
And here I am still sitting there like, is she going to recognize me? Is
Mm.
she going to realize I'm here? And I watched you for years and years. You passed me by, Brenda.
Oh.
And here I am still holding on. I'm still holding on, wishing that you will realize that I am here. And without me, you will never be. But you're
Okay
still ignoring me. Well, that inner child, of course, is myself. I left long time ago,
now. Mm.
and I left, and she was very upset that I left, and I knew that I always felt that I would come back and get her. I just didn't know how to do that as I continued because life continued. So I kept moving and moving and moving. And I didn't know who I was. And that was the day that I saw her for the first time. I
Mm.
saw her as a little girl. I saw her sitting there with a blue jean outfit on, with two pigtails, with the little barrettes on, looking so cute, just knowing that I was going to come back. And when I didn't come back,
Mm.
she grew and she grew, but she was always with me. And she kept trying to get my attention, but I didn't know how to listen.
Mm.
And so when I was standing there in that mirror and I saw her for the first time, something inside of me, I knew that it was going to be better, but I knew that I had to put in that work. And I was willing to put in that work. And I made a vow to her that I will never, ever forsake her. I will never, ever leave her again. I realized without her, I could have never made it this far.
Mm.
Line, wishing that I would acknowledge her. Her feelings were hurt. Her feelings were damaged.
Wow.
She didn't know who she was
Mm.
because of me, because of me. And when we connected, oh my goodness, we so good now.
See.
Oh, we're so good now. I love spending time with her. I love reading books with her. I love when we ground ourselves and Mother Earth accepts us and we put our feet in the ground and we have so much fun. I love when she hugs me.
Mm.
I love when she kisses me. I
Mm.
love when she makes love to me and
Mm.
she show me that love. And I'm not talking about sexual. I'm talking about a love that I never knew. And
Cosmic.
so so here we are, Dr. Alita.
Yep.
We're like, yeah, what a music, what a music, what a music. Turn it up.
So for those of you who don't know what we're smoking on the energy of just pure love. And
Yeah.
for you to get where we are, it takes work, as Dr. Bradley says. It
Yes.
takes work. And to recognize that, do you really know who you are from the core of who you're being? And that is a question that may shift your life. It may shift you from where you are currently are into becoming. And
Yeah.
so that's even another conversation that we can have is, why don't we ask ourselves who we are and do a workshop about that and really go deep, a deep dive into that
Yeah.
start of asking us, who are you and what do you want to be? And so
Yes.
we're going to leave that alone, but amen to all that just happened, because the spirit of your inner child really was bugging me. She kept on coming in and she kept on saying, but I have to be there, but I have to be there. So
But
I was just telling Dr. Bradley this on the side, but she's here. And now that we've acknowledged her, guess what? Your screen is fine.
that's my ride or die. My road dog.
So we're going to finish up, Dr. Brad, with two questions. The first one is, you started a business back in 2015, right? And it all has to do with who you become. So can you tell us about that, and where and how do you apply that in the several books that you've published? And tell us about the book at the end, because I have it. And we want to talk about that as the last question. Actually, there's one more
Wonderful.
question. Yes. So
Wonderful. So my journey started back in 2010, 2011, when I was dealing with my health issues and all of that. When I adopted a plant-based lifestyle, most people say veganism, the results of it was so amazing. I felt the connection, body, soul, and mind, felt the connection with nature. And when I felt that connection, I wanted to go and tell the world. I wanted to climb the highest mountain and say, I have found that fountain of mind, body, and soul, that fountain of youth, that fountain. We're going to be just fine. I found it. But then that little voice in my head said, be still. Go and sit down somewhere because you don't know everything. And
oh.
so I listened to that voice and I sat down. And during that 3 year, because it was 3 years before I said anything to anybody about what I was experiencing. During those 3 years, I started doing a lot of research. I went back to school to learn about nutrition. I learned over 100 dietary theories. I wanted to be in a position where I knew that I can truly help someone. I wanted to be in a position to say, okay, everybody's not going to adopt my lifestyle. Everybody's not going to be a vegan or plant-based, but can I still help them? Yes, I can. So I wanted to know all of that. So during that time, I was being still and I was studying and I was researching and I was doing whatever I needed to do because my goal was to reach back, sideways, in front of me, do whatever I had to do to help. I wish there was someone there that was able to help me, but I realized that that was not my journey. I was already chosen. My steps was ordered and I had to be obedient. So in 2014, I was lying in my bed. At this point, I'm just loving life because I have a new music in my head. I can hear the birds. I can hear music that other people can't hear. I can hear nature. Nature talked to me. Nature was with me. On this one particular day, I do not know the day, but I do know it was 2014 and I was lying in my bed. And I do know that I woke up and it was like somebody was in the room and they said, wake up. And I said, okay. And I woke up. It was 2:30 in the morning. And that voice said, it is time. You are ready. And I said, oh, no, I'm not. I am not ready. I became so afraid. I was so scared. I was like, I'm scared. There's that Moses that I spoke about earlier. I'm scared to go out there. I'm country. I don't pronounce my words like everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a country bumpkin. I don't say I'm getting ready to go. I say I'm fixed to go. They're gonna, so I was justified. I was trying to think of everything, but I knew it was time. And so what I did was I went online on Facebook and I said, during that time, I started writing a program. What would I have wanted someone to teach me when I switched into this world of plant-based veganism? So I was writing the whole time. And it was my daughter who was living in Korea at the time. She was working with the Red Cross. I would send her recipes because what I started doing was converting my mother and my grandmother's recipes into vegan recipes. And I would send them to her and she would say, Mom, you should compile this information. So I have to give props to my firstborn, my soulmate, my daughter, Ebony. I have to do that. And so when the voice woke me up and the angel said, it is time. And I said, no, it's not. I did have a program already. So what I did was I went to Facebook and I just put it out there. I said, hey, I'm starting this program because on Facebook, I would tell people about my journey. They saw me go from 236 to 170. So I was talking the whole time. I just wasn't telling people what to do or how to do it. And so I put it out there and I said, I would like to some people to test my program. And within two days, it was like 115, 130 people immediately responded and said, I'll try it. And so they tried it. And all of them lost weight. If you were to go to my website, you will see a couple of them. One of them was my Sunday school teacher when I was a little girl, and she looked so good. And they tried my program, and it was through them that I gained that confidence to start my business in 2015. And so I started my business, Hope, helping other people evolve into a healthier you, Dr. Bradley LLC. And I started a program called the 21 Day Vegan Challenge. I have not missed a month. It's been 7 years now. So many people have come through that program, and just to hear them say thank you. I am just come with so much emotion. It's just like day one, knowing that I'm doing what I truly believe I came here to do, and that is to provide a service and to help people identify with who they are so that they'll be able to smell and to see the forest.
Amen.
And so I'm just so happy for that.
Whew, I think I want to start after my, I keep saying I'm going to start, but I've been doing it. I've been following your book, and I want you to tell us more, because you're doing a 21-day challenge. And in this book, and I've been talking about you. I don't know if you've seen some of my lives. I've been talking about your butterfly. And if you can end this conversation with two more things. Tell us about your being a published author, and what books have you published, but in particular about Miss Butterfly.
Okay, so this is not to brag or anything. Everything is God sent, but these are the books that I have published.
Woo! Amen.
I have published over 6 books, and Butterfly is one of them. And I'll introduce my latest, but my very first one is a cookbook called Kel Yeah. It's good, no meat necessary. I have a program called the 21 Day Vegan Challenge, where I take you by the hand and I say, it's going to be all right. I meet you where you are. I do not believe in judging, guilt-free. You might say, Dr. Brenda, I have fish, and I'll say, okay, all right, all right. I'm not going to say, what? Why did you do that? I have to meet you where you are. I was once there too. And then I moved on, and I published another cookbook called Kel Yeah. It's still good, no meat necessary. It became a bestseller overnight. Someone in France and Jordan, the country of Jordan, they bought the book. I don't even know who these people are, but it's okay. Really quick, when I started the 21 Day Vegan Challenge, Spirit spoke to me and said, hey, those people that have been through your program, they have a voice. Let their voice be heard. And so I did a book, a collaboration, I should say, called I Feel Good. It is not me talking. This is a book of people that are talking about their life story when they took, and it's funny, you'll cry, you'll laugh. These stories are amazing. And so the book that you're talking about, This Is My Heart, and this is the Butterfly. This is an interactive journal. You had mentioned to me about my initials is BB, and it's what, if I could talk about my personality, using my initial BB, I would say that I'm bold and I'm beautiful. And I am I'm a bold, beautiful butterfly, but to keep it with 2 letters, I am a bold butterfly. This book here, Butterfly, is is an affirmation, and it's a self-care journal. And one of the things about Butterfly, as you will see in the book, I talk about Butterfly is actually an acronym. And basically what Butterfly stands for is when you're in a better place of understanding and able to tap into the energies and resources for loving yourself, you too can become that beautiful butterfly. And last but not least, you don't know this, so I'm just going to share it. I'm getting ready to roll out another program, and we'll probably have to come on and talk about this in depth, because I'm going to roll this out in the new year. It's in a beta stage right now. There are people testing it, and so far they have been amazed. So my next project is called the 21 Day Whole Food Plant-Based Challenge for high blood pressure. So many people
have to get that one.
And this is very personal, and I have a very personal story on how this came to be. And just to give you a little bit, has to do with my mother, who was found on the side of the road from a brain hemorrhage. She had stroke, and one of the culprits was high blood pressure. So I put this program together after talking to multiple clinical doctors, helped me. So it is a program that I have a group of people that are utilizing it right now, and they are being floored with, they cannot believe. One lady, her blood pressure has always been in 200s. The other day she posted it in the group. Her blood pressure was 118, just from over, I think it was 78, which still was good,
Yeah.
because she followed this program. So Dr. Aletha, my journey is never ending. I'm so emotional right now. I'm fighting back the tears. I really am. I'm very sensitive, because I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really am thankful.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful.
Yes, Dr. Bradley, you mentioned your website, but where can we reach you? Is it by phone, email, or your website?
All three. I try to make myself reachable. So my phone number is 888-567, I love eights, 888-567-2822. You can go to my website, which is www.drbtbradley.com, DRBTBRADLEY.com. And you're able to reach me through the website. But if you just say, forget the website, I just want to send you an email, you can use my first name, Brenda, Brenda, that's BRENDA, at drbtbradley.com.
There we go.
You will hear from me. You won't hear from a staff or anything. You will hear directly from me. Dr. Aletha.
Well,
thank
in Jamaica, when we say Alita,
Dr. Aletha.
That raised deflection, it's like, man, that was good. But Dr. Bradley, I want you to close us out with a message. What message would you like to send to your audience right now?
If you want to believe in anybody, if you truly, truly want and you desire to believe in anybody, look in the mirror. Please. That person that you see in the mirror is you.
Yes.
That person is you, and that person needs you more than anybody in this world. And that person will love on you. Like Stephanie Mills' song said, I never knew a love like this. Do it. Check it out and watch what she or he will do for you. Oh my goodness. Oh, I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
Oh my God.
And
Dr.
see.
Bradley, I don't know if you know this. If you guys have been watching this entire interview, you've seen where the spirits have interrupted us, and you've seen when we acknowledged inner child, how the video and everything went clear and everything has been smooth since. So as you were speaking, your inner child had this message for you. You have another 21-day book to write. You want me to tell you what the title is? Falling in love with yourself and loving it.
I'm going to write that down. I have a pen, so just in case y'all. I have paper.
So I don't know if this is probably where the connection of synchronicity is coming from, because that is exactly, if you have been awakened and you know that there's thousands of us star seeds that are being awakened right now with COVID actually awoken many more than have been awakened before. And I believe you are one of those star seeds. I definitely am. And one of the missions that they're telling your child wants you to bring out is that falling in love with yourself without the trauma of the memories that held them back, but really literally just falling in love. So I look forward to getting that book signed and say, "Oh, you were so right. I'm so glad." So I'm going to have to give you a letter to write and put in my book, okay? When you sign it. Well, guys,
I
from the bottom
receive
of
it.
my heart, Dr. Bradley, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for who you are and who you discovered yourself to be and who you continue to show up as. And from the bottom of my heart and our audience, we'd like to say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Bye, everyone.